Well, it certainly isn't Heaven House. Hi guys, so before we get into it, a quick disclaimer that there will be mild spoilers today, but nothing you can't handle, I'm sure. It's a bit like if you have a mild sauce with a curry, easily tolerable, in my opinion. Before I forget, I have to quickly address the title of this, by the way. So, calling this Hell House 2 the Abaddon Hotel, a bit redundant for my money, given the fact that the first one was also about that same hotel. It's a bit like if you call your sequel Child's Play 2, Attack of the Undead Doll, or Halloween 2, Knife Time. It's like, yeah, that was the essence of the first film as well, really, but whatever. The plot for this largely continues where the first film left off. So after the bloodbath at the end of the first one, the Abaddon Hotel has been boarded up, it's been made derelict, people are not allowed in there, but some brave people go in anyway, so local teens or YouTubers who want to make a video. The trouble is, these people are not coming out again, and this only adds to the hotel's notoriety over time. So much so that eventually a TV channel does a talk show about the place, and it's on the back of this that an expedition is formed by 6 people to go into the hotel and search for clues about the missing people, and maybe they'll find out the secrets of the place while they're at it. But of course, once they're inside, the hotel locks all the doors behind them by supernatural means, and these people are in for the ultimate night of terror as they try and find a way out of this place before it's too late. This one has a very different feel to the first one. So the original was a mockumentary horror film centered around a Halloween haunt. This time, it's just a straight-up haunted house experience interspersed with talk show footage, and yet both films take place in the exact same building, which is kind of clever to me. But I think this one is the superior movie, and I say that as somebody who really enjoyed the first one as well. Now, my opinion is not the common one here. I did a little bit of digging online. It seems to me that a lot of people who have watched these films revere the first film over all of the sequels. But the biggest reason why I think this one is better is just that there's more on the line for the characters. It feels like anybody can die at any time in number 2. Whereas in the first one, there was a bit of a safety net for the characters because you knew that they had to survive all the way to the finale so that they could have opening night and let all the punters in. So yeah, you'd get all these fun and games with clowns who were moving around and standing on the stairs at weird angles, but you didn't really think anybody was going to die during all this. That there were literally scenes where people would get a scare because the clowns showed up somewhere, and then they'd run and tell their friends who were all having brunch in the bar area, and then it would be like, oh, well, that was a bit scary, but I guess we'll just go about our day now, and I'll nip out for some milk while I'm at it. But the rules are completely different in the second film. In the second one, if you go inside the house, you will be trapped in there and you will die. And the randomness of how the hotel attacks people is a really creepy factor as well. It seems to me that you've no idea what sort of experience you're going to get in the hotel once you're trapped. There's one character who goes in and he's killed within like a couple of minutes, but there's somebody else, and I'm thinking of the guy in the prologue, if you've seen this, who is like camped in there for like a day or two before the hotel finally picks him off. So you've no idea what's going to happen to any of the characters who go into the hotel. But I definitely found it more creepy than the first one. This guy who directs this, Stephen Cognetti, he is so good at setting up scares, and each one just feels different from the last. He doesn't rely on jump scares. The way he utilizes this location is fantastic. It's just like the maze from hell. You've no idea which corridors lead to anywhere. It's really impressive. Unfortunately, there is some dodgy content in the form of the talk show. Now, on the one hand, I can appreciate that you find out one or two interesting snippets of lore via this show. And I do understand the function of the talk show within the overall structure of the movie. It's meant to act as a kind of wraparound hub through which we get to watch some of the earlier found footage sections. However, there are 3 things I really don't like about this talk show. So firstly, it looks very cheap and tacky. Secondly, I don't buy that there would be a talk show about the Abaddon Hotel. If this place was notorious enough to get its own TV show, then surely they just would have bulldozed the place by now or sent a SWAT team in. They wouldn't just leave it lying there where it could ensnare any old Tom, Dick, and Harry who just happens to walk past and sees an open window. And the third thing I don't like is one of the characters who sits on the panel. I refer to the middle-aged guy with the glasses. He is so annoying. Like, every time this guy opens his mouth, I just want to slap him. This takes me nicely onto my other big complaint about Hell House 2, which is the ending. So Andrew Tully shows up in human form, a supernatural version of, obviously, and he's got all the characters at his mercy, and he starts boasting about how he's been able to manipulate everybody involved in the house over the past few months. His evil plans are all coming to fruition. Yap, 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 yap. This is not becoming for this movie. It's a real shame that they had to have a scene like this. If you're going to introduce a Tully avatar, you've got to make it a bit more scary and intimidating than this. It's got to be more otherworldly, I think, than just having a human Tully being there in the dining room, wandering around, boasting to everybody that he's so smart and clever. I don't like the way that they've done this scene, even though I don't mind getting the information that Tully has to give. They just needed to redo this somehow. I don't know. This is a scene that I remembered being pretty bad from the first time I watched the movie years ago. And whilst it doesn't sink the movie, far from it, because I do really enjoy this movie, it's just a shame that a movie with so much good stuff in it would finish with a sequence like this. We get to see some returning characters from the first movie, which is kind of cool. Obviously, these scenes are through flashbacks. One of these returnees is Alex, the leader of the Halloween Haunt, and some of the new information presented is quite interesting, actually. It didn't make me like that character any better, but I still liked the callbacks nonetheless. It's quite funny, though. They could clearly only get 2 of the actors back from the first one, and there were 5 people who were part of that whole crew from memory. By the end of Hell House 2, you'll be well aware that they could only get these 2 specific actors back. And the final scene of the movie is another flashback where Alex and his buddy are in a diner talking about the Halloween haunt that's yet to happen at the time this scene is taking place. And they kind of pull a bit of a Godfather too. So if you've ever seen that movie, at the end of it, there's a scene in a dining room where all the characters from the first Godfather are back again and they're all talking to each other. But they obviously couldn't get Marlon Brando back. But they've still decided to acknowledge him, kind of. So at the end of the scene, the doorbell rings and everybody's like, oh, Papa, and they go out towards the front. You know that the Godfather's stood out front somewhere, but he's not going to come in. You're not going to get to see him because they couldn't get Brando. And it's the same thing at the end of Hell House 2. Like, as soon as the conversation in the diner is finished, you can tell that the rest of the team has come in, but off camera, because Alex says something like, oh, hi, guys, and then it kind of cuts away. For the record, I actually think Hell House 2 is a better sequel than Godfather 2. I might get a car sticker which says, I think Hell House 2 is better than Godfather 2, put it on the back window of the car, and see how many honks of the horn I get over the next year or so. I think that could be quite interesting. I have to finish, though, by re-emphasising what I was saying more towards the beginning of this video when I was going on about how great the scares are. They are what makes this film worth watching. There are so many great scenes where people are just wandering around the house with a camcorder in the dark, and we, the viewer, are just getting the crap scared out of us time and time again. There's one scene where a couple of people are driving in this car and they pick up this hitchhiker girl who turns out to have been one of the punters involved in the bloodbath at the end of the first movie, and now she's brainwashed somehow and just wandering around roads in the dead of night. She gives these people in the car the address of the Abaddon, so they take her back there, and I won't spoil what happens after that, but it's great and also very scary. And the Smiler girl who was chained up in the basement in the first movie, she randomly comes back. So I guess there are more than 2 people returning from the original movie when I think about it. This girl just appears in this attic corridor when one guy turns a corner. It's like, oh, is that girl from the first movie? And her face is all kind of different, but I'm pretty sure it's the same actress. But it's another example of another great scare. And the clown is back. The clown, I think, has upped his game in the second movie. He was a bit static first time around. He wouldn't really do anything. You know, he would scare you, but not do an awful lot. But I just feel in this second film like he's moving faster. He's more willing to be a bit more proactive in coming towards the characters, kind of a thing. I'm certainly very curious to see what they do with him in the next film and beyond. But this film is definitely for me better than the first one. I think it's genuinely a great time. But if you haven't seen either of them, obviously start with the first one. Although if you're watching this, probably you've definitely seen the first one. Right, it's time to get to the bag of terror so I can show you what score I'm going to give Hell House 2, the Abaddon Hotel. Here's the bag. Let's see what we've got. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 Michael Myers carving knives out of 5. That is half a point more than I gave the original film. Really like this, and I can't wait to see what happens in Hell House 3, which I will be covering very shortly. But I think my next review is likely to be The Creeping Flesh, an old Peter Cushing film I've not yet seen. Looking forward to checking that one out as well. Right, shall we have a rare reading update before we go? I think we shall. So I've just finished reading Pet Sematary by Stephen King. This is probably one of his most famous books. I read this one years ago and I didn't massively like it. I would have said at the time that it was one of the lesser King novels, to be honest. But this time around, I had a much better time with it. I just seem to get the book more this time. Although I still don't love the ending. It's a bit of an open ending. I'm kind of sat there thinking, don't leave it hanging like that. Tell me what happens. So I don't think I will ever love the ending, but the novel leading up to that point is pretty excellent. I've not seen much of the movies. There are 4 Pet Sematary movies. I've only seen the most recent one. I saw that one at the cinema. I didn't think it was amazing. At some point, I'll have to check out the classic original film that came out on the back of this book. I'm reading all the King novels in chronological order, but it's taking me quite a long time because I don't read as much as some people, and I'm also reading other books in between the King books. I think I started this chronological King adventure about a year ago, and I've still only got about 13 or 14 books through his whole canon of books. So it's going to take me like years and years to get through all of them. But hey ho, takes as long as it takes. Right, I'll leave it there for today. I'll be back very soon. Until next time, cheerio, bye bye.